In this video, I'm going to show you how to do a free motion stitching technique using a darning foot. You can collect a darning foot from this jar, which you'll find up on the ledge next to the whiteboard. The darning foot looks like this here. It has a circle in the bottom of it, and that's where the needle will go down through this little hole here. So it fits onto your sewing machine just like all the other presser feet do. So I've already put one of those here on my sewing machine. I need to take my top thread, and I'm going to put this top thread down through that circle hole so it's coming out from the top through to the bottom of it. So I've got my two threads there. The settings that we need to change is this dial here at the bottom. So at the moment it's on the zigzag and straight stitch setting. I want it to be on this darning stitch setting. So I'm just going to flick the inside dial across to this side here. You can leave the outside one as it is on the green. That's the only setting that you need to change. What you will notice when you go to lower the presser foot is that it doesn't actually clamp down. There's a little bit of space underneath here so that you can freely move your fabric around underneath, so it doesn't actually clamp it down, and that's how we want it to be. So don't think that you've made a mistake. It should be able to move around freely like that. So what I've done with my piece of fabric is I've folded it in half. Free motion stitching is better done on thicker fabric. And I've drawn on it. I've drawn this pattern design here using one of the friction pens. If you don't know about the friction pens, you can draw on fabric, and then when you're done, you can iron it afterwards and the pen will disappear. It just evaporates, or yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this under here, figure out where I want to start, and I'm just going to, I've already lowered the presser foot. I'm going to use the hand wheel on the end of the sewing machine just to lower the needle down so I can start on the line where I want to start. Okay, from here I'm just going to put my foot onto the foot controller and the machine's going to start sewing, but I'm in control of where the fabric will move. So what I'm doing here is I'm just watching what my needle's doing, and I'm moving my fabric so that the needle and the stitching line will follow the line of my friction pen, and I'm just going to move it all the way around. The faster I move my fabric, the larger the stitches will jump. The slower I move my fabric, I'll get tiny little stitches. So try and keep an even pace when you move the fabric around so you don't get huge big stitches. For the purpose of this video, I won't stitch on the whole thing because I think you can probably see and understand what I'm trying to explain here. But now that I've done that, once I had finished it, I would be able to go and iron this and the blue pen would disappear. It takes a little bit of practice, so it's a good idea to do just a little sample trial first. You can see here I went a little bit wobbly. Yeah, so I think I needed a little bit of practice too. In terms of doing a back stitch, you could just move back and forward over the start and the finish to kind of secure those edges so they don't come undone. Free motion stitching can be used in many different ways. So not only can it be used to create different patterns, but you might write a word and then you could stitch on top of it. You might do some sort of a pattern like a floral pattern or a geometric pattern. You can also use it along with iron-on fusing. So here we have iron-on fusing on the back. It feels a little bit like tissue paper, but on one side of it, it has adhesive or glue, which is activated when you iron it. So you can cut out a whole bunch of different fabric scraps, position them all down onto your iron-on fusing, iron it down so they all stick there, and then you can take it to your sewing machine and you can do free motion stitching all over it. You can see from the back here, there's a lot of texture there from all of that stitching, and that just holds all of those scraps down in place. It's a really nice way to use up little offcuts so that they don't go into the rubbish bin, which goes to landfill. You can even cut out little pieces from little lace and other trims to include in it as well. You might even find a patterned fabric that has different flowers and things in it that you might want to cut out, place them down onto another fabric, and then you can stitch them down. This one's a little bit messy. Looks like they might have needed a wee bit more practice there. But yeah, you can do a lot with them. Images, words, you name it.